Hi, Yasmin Shavira here to talk to you about how I changed this lesson this year. So, a little bit about last year versus this year. I feel like as teachers, we have to do a good job of getting to know our students at the beginning of the year in terms of what their academic needs will be. Last year, those students I noticed very early on were having a very hard time grappling with the formatting of writing algebraic expressions. So, for example, 3b meant 3 times b. And that idea itself, the idea that when there's a letter and a number next to each other and there's no sign, that means multiplication. These were some of the ideas that some of my students, many of my students last year, had a hard time grappling with. So I definitely made sure to introduce this unit on algebraic expressions and equations differently last year than I did this year. This year, I began to notice early in the year that this year's students were very comfortable with the formatting. I conferenced with their sixth grade teacher, something that I do every year to figure out what they're coming in doing well and what they need to continue working on. And he did explain that they were much better with math in terms of the algebraic concepts, understanding how things are written, so that I shouldn't spend so much time instructing that or rolling that out, which is why this lesson that we're currently looking at changed. The way that I actually taught this lesson, first of all, it came much later in the year. Rather than at the beginning, it came somewhere in the middle. It was lesson 50. Whereas here, we're looking at something close to lesson 40, as you can notice by some of the label names here. So this lesson, once again, came later in the year, and I introduced it actually by using foldables, something that can be found on Pinterest very easily. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed before, but Pinterest is filled with lots of really great decorating ideas, but also lots of really great math ideas. Particularly in the world of interactive notebooks. This year we have our Cornell notebooks, which we are using to take notes in. I am no longer giving students worksheets. They are taking notes in their Cornell notebooks. You can find some images of this foldable that we did for this lesson within this reflection. The particular foldable that we did is from this Pinterest website, blog, whatever you want to call it, that I found, where the words are clearly displayed on the outside of the foldable, and on the inside you have the operations, including the formatting that I spoke about earlier, which many of my students this year have felt comfortable using. So that's just a note on beginning this lesson and getting to know your students so that you know, in terms of your pacing and your calendar, when it's best to introduce these sorts of topics. Hope that's helpful. Thank you.